she bought 100 grand worth of Bitcoin at $250. Dude, the big dogs have been in way before you. You think you got the information first? These guys control everything, and they're going to continue controlling everything because you're not disciplined enough to get your act together to compete. But you think you're going to compete with these guys that are quants that are running hedge funds worth billions of dollars by reading 2 books a year, by hanging out with scrubs all day? People can't even comprehend how weak they truly are.
You said you made 100K this month.
I took a 5K,
5K to 100K
in
right?
7 months.
And that's very hard to believe to a lot of people, right? I've seen it kind of in person.
Here,
right?
pass me my phone right there. I'm gonna none of the other one.
Proof.
I'm gonna pull up the KuCoin account and I'll show it to you. I actually have a current trade open as well. This is an account that I literally started, and I, for example, opened up a Bitcoin long, a Bitcoin short today because obviously anytime the market longs, you short because your liquidity to go the other way, and it worked. So let me show it to you as proof. So I took a 100K account. It was at 5K. Right there, you'll see it. You'll see 30K underneath on an open trade, and then you'll see the open P&L. You'll see the open P&L that says 70K. That means that's the amount of balance in the wallet. And then you have a $30,000 position open on a BTC short with 3 grand in net profit. So that puts my account from 5K to 107K. And the reason I did that was to prove to people that it's not about how much money you have. It's about the information that you have that allows you to multiply that money, but not only multiply it, back to the idea of Capital Club, but to preserve that money.
Is this the first time you do this challenge?
No, bro.
So you've done it multiple times?
Multiple times. But the reason I do it is because I want to prove people that it's possible. So what did I learn? One, most people overtrade.
Yeah.
Right. So most people spend too much time in front of the charts instead of spending more time in front of the books and in front of learning and researching. Dude, I do not want to be the guy like Rambo. Too much room for failure, too much room for error, too much room for missing the target. I want to be the sniper. I want to be calculated. I want to wait on the tree. I want to make sure the weather's good. I want to check the humidity, and I just want to fire one bullet, and it's a fucking headshot. That's why we did the same thing, not only with crypto, but with e-commerce. Our winning products, one of every 4 products that we would launch was a winner. Why? Because we spent so much time learning, so much time doing the research that when we deployed a strategy, it worked. Back to Miyamoto Musashi, he said, life is about training. And the purpose of training is for you to be able to react without thinking. That it's so ingrained in your nature that people are like, dude, how did you know Bitcoin was going to go up and down? Because I've been looking at the chart every single day for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I've been understanding it, learning it, studying, becoming one with it. And these people are like, whoa, that's crazy. You're not using technical analysis? Let me break it down to you, motherfuckers. The top dogs ain't using technical analysis. They only use technical analysis to know what the noobs are doing. These guys are out here looking at bigger things. And I'll give you an example. Let me tell you one. I can't say who the billionaire is, but there's this really well-known billionaire that what he did was he wanted to open up certain positions with oil, right? He wanted to make some oil trades at a multi-billion-dollar level. Do you think this guy got on TradingView, did some support and resistance to figure out if he was going to buy some crude oil?
Yeah.
No, he realized that the containers that you have the crude oil stored in, the lids would go up and down in accordance to the level of the oil reserve. So the lid was kind of not a sealed lid. It was a lid that was placed over the top. So what does this dude end up doing? He launches satellites into space.
Thinking outside the box.
To measure the level of the lid and therefore know the reserves that are held in oil and make his trades and his positions in accordance to that information. Where are you going to get that, dude? That takes critical thinking. That takes experience. That takes knowledge. And you need to be able to put that into play at a micro level so that then you can do it at a macro level. So you got to think outside of the box. You can't be thinking how the sheep are thinking. Dude, if everybody's looking at the same technical analysis, everybody's going to do the exact same thing. Yeah. And it doesn't work. So you need to be able to use it as a measurement, but it can't be that alone. You need to be able to equip yourself with as many tools as possible.
Do you think crypto is really going to be that ace to be like the good versus the evil?
No.
Why not?
Because the US government can print $1 trillion right now and buy all the Bitcoin in the world. Yeah. So this idea that, for example, Fidelity has trillions of dollars of assets under management. Hopefully somebody can look up the logo of Fidelity. It's a little Masonic logo. And they started mining Bitcoin in 2015. Kathy Wood, she bought 100 grand worth of Bitcoin at $250. Dude, the big dogs have been in way before you. You think you got the information first? You think you landed on a Reddit forum and you're ahead of all the guys that are actually institutionalizing and making the rules and setting things in stone? You're mistaken. For example, a couple days ago, we had a new prime minister assigned to the UK.
Yeah. Bitcoin.
There you go. And now they're going to push a CBDC. I was sitting with the head, and hopefully you come out to the next mastermind. I was sitting out. We did the the mastermind in Albania, and I brought out a gentleman by the name of last name Fulani, and he's the governor of the Central Bank of Albania. He's the one that signs the money that goes out. I asked him 3 questions. The first one, I said, Mr. Fulani, do central banks run the world? And he said, well, I can't answer that, but what I can tell you is what JP Morgan said. JP Morgan said, whoever controls the money controls the world. 1. The second question I asked him was, is Bitcoin money? And he said, well, what are the functions of money? It has to be a value. It has to be a means of exchange. It has to have a store of value, things of this nature. So Bitcoin, by definition, is money. The third question I asked him, because he's a globalist, and I still talk to these people because I'm here to learn. I'm a student mind. I asked them, World Economic Forum, 2030, all these things. Is it going to happen? He said, undoubtedly it's going to happen. And the reason he knows it's going to happen is because we're going to go back into a state of what's called techno-feudalism. I'm not going to go into super in-depth details as to what techno-feudalism is. We'll talk about it over dinner because it's a little bit of a deeper conversation, things that I think people need to go and explore. But if you think a bunch of retail Wall Street bet investors are going to go against the system that allowed them to get rich in the first place, is foolish. These guys control everything, and they're going to continue controlling everything because you're not disciplined enough to get your act together to compete. What, you think you're going to compete with these guys that are quants that are running hedge funds worth billions of dollars by reading 2 books a year? By hanging out with scrubs all day? Dude, you're so far behind. People can't even comprehend how weak they truly are. So my recommendation for people is understand where things are going, understand where the trends are moving, and position yourself in a way where you, as part of the system, because you are a part of the system, you are part of the problem, you're part of the virus, just as much as everybody else is part of the virus. You need to position yourself in a way that you can succeed and you can minimize your risk.